Today we are talking about how to enter a flow state. Getting into that highly focused, almost effortless state of mind seems like some elusive magic that only happens by accident once in a blue moon. But I've been able to break it down into 6 actionable steps backed by scientific research and my own experience that will help you to enter a flow state much more often. I'm AAWatson. I'm a fiction writer. I've been writing fiction for 18 years at this point. I've written 500,000 words in the last 18 months alone, over 80,000 of which I recorded in a video series of over 65 videos and posted them on this channel. And I've posted over 25 of my stories in video format on this channel as well. And these 6 steps have truly worked like a miracle, helping me to produce at the rate that I do. Let's start with step 1, to set clear goals. This first step is more of a continuous process that happens all throughout the session, let's say, that we're trying to enter a flow state in. It's not just one goal, it's a series of micro goals that happen at every step of the process. I'll give you an example for me, in my case. So my overall goal might be to write a book. That is the overall goal, very clear. Okay, perfect. Then I might have a session goal for that day. Might be, for example, to write a chapter. Let's say it's to write 2,000 words. But to get to that point, there are mini goals. For example, I need to write every letter, which then I need to get to a word, which means I need to string lots of words together to make a sentence. That makes a paragraph, that makes a page, and onwards. Those are what I mean by mini goals, micro goals in the larger goal. Now, that does not mean you have to think about every mini goal and write it down and have it in your head and go, next word, next word, next word. No. In fact, if you're thinking that way, you're not going to enter flow. It's too much conscious thought. But you have to build the overall goal so that it has built into it intuitive mini goals, so that you intuitively know the very next thing you have to do. And the more mini goals you have, the better, which links to step 3, which we will get to in a little bit. I'll give you an example. A musician might want to play a song, but the musician has the goal of every note that they're playing next. They're not actively thinking, my next goal is to play the note, but they have steps, mini goals within that larger goal. A surgeon knows what is the next incision to make in the surgery. The surgery is the macro goal, but the micro goal is the next incision, the next step. Same with a rock climber, for example, who wants to climb the mountain, but knows the next place to put their hands. Those are the micro goals. You're not consciously thinking of each micro goal, but you come up with the macro goal that includes the micro goals built into it. Step 2 is you match the task to the skill. You've come up with the goal, the correct clear goal that has mini goals built into it, but now you have to make sure that what you're actually doing matches your skill level. If it's too hard, it will just cause frustration. You'll have to think too much. You won't get into flow. If it's too easy, you'll get bored. Let me give you an example. I used to be a tennis player, so I can talk about this from lived experience. Imagine you're a tennis player at a certain level, and then you play someone who is just way, way better than you. So much better than you that you can hardly do anything. You'll feel like it's walking in hip-high mud. You can't do anything, you get frustrated, you're thinking so much about what you can possibly do. Let's switch it and imagine you're playing someone who's so much worse than you. They can barely string 2 shots together. You hit a shot, they miss. You get bored. You're like, what's the point? Why am I doing this? This is boring. You won't get into flow. You feel like it's pointless. But now think about, as a tennis player, you play against someone who is just at a very similar level to you. That's when you have the potential to reach a flow state, because it's not too easy that you're bored. It's not too hard that you feel like you're trying to run through quicksand. It's just at the right level to push you. So it's a challenge, but you can keep up, but you have to push yourself. And that's when your mind energy and focus can all go into the task, and you have the potential to get to a flow state. A good example is when I first started on YouTube and I started learning to edit at a higher level. I'd done some editing in the past, but when I actually truly started trying to edit my videos in the way I wanted to, at the beginning, it was really hard. I was constantly thinking about what I had to do. I would do something and it wouldn't work, and I didn't know how the tools worked. I didn't know what buttons did what, and shortcuts were confusing me because I pressed something that I thought would do something, but then it ended up doing something else, and I didn't know how to go back because I did undo and then something got undone. That wasn't the thing I wanted to get undone because I didn't realize that I'd actually done 2 actions instead of 1, and it was a whole mess. I didn't get into flow when I first started video editing, but that's okay. We'll get to that in a moment as well in a future step. But part of being able to have the potential to enter a flow state is the task that you're doing has to be at the right level of difficulty to challenge you but not be out of your reach. Now let's move to step 3, which is to have an immediate feedback loop. You'll notice that the first 3 steps are connected. They're prerequisites to having the potential to enter a flow state. Yeah, I've split them into steps, but in actuality, they will essentially happen at the same time. To be able to have the potential to enter a flow state, you need to know how well you are doing in real time. A good example is the way video games are built. Video games are built with scoring, with health points, experience points. The video game designers want to make sure that you know how well you are doing in real time at every moment. The reason why is because they know that if they can create the environment for you to enter a flow state, not only will you keep playing longer, but you will get more satisfaction from it because you'll enter that zone, that highly focused state of consciousness that, funnily enough, we tend to find very enjoyable. You have to be able to score yourself. Now, there are things in life that have that automatically. For example, sales jobs, for example, you know how much you're selling, things like that. With creative endeavors, it can be more difficult, especially if you're new to something. You don't really know what's good, but let's say you're writing a book and you've never written a book before. You don't really know what makes a good book, what makes a good sentence. And maybe you have to write the whole book and then give it to someone to read, and then they can give you the feedback. And then you're like, oh, this was good, this was bad. But during that process, you're not really going to enter flow because you don't have that immediate feedback. The way you develop that is just by doing something a lot so that you can have an internal immediate feedback. You know something is correct or wrong. Another good example is a musician who knows when a key is off or when a note is just wrong. They're getting that immediate feedback because they know if you're new to music, then you might not know when it's off key or when a note was played wrong. But in time you learn. And then the more you can give yourself that internal feedback of doing a thing, knowing whether it's good or bad, doing another thing, knowing immediately whether it's good or bad, provides a better environment for you to have the potential to enter a flow state. With me, for example, with my writing, I immediately know when I've written something good, when something feels off, when I need to change something around. I just know that I've been writing a long time. It's been internalized. With going back to my editing example, sometimes still to this day, I don't really know if something is good. Sometimes I post a video and I still don't know if that technique is good or not in terms of if it will perform well, if people will like it, etc. I don't know because I haven't had enough reps. I don't have that internal feedback yet. Over time, it will develop. But again, it's hard to get into flow if you don't have that immediate feedback happening. And if you can't get it externally, like in video games, you have to develop it internally. Now we move on to step 4, which is to remove all distractions. So you have a goal which has mini goals included. It's set to the correct difficulty level, and you know enough about the thing you're doing to be able to give yourself intuitive, immediate feedback. Now you have to remove all distractions from your environment. I've noticed it especially in writers like I am, but creatives across the board, it happens a lot. Other people think they're strange because they have these weird habits or routines around their craft. For example, Maya Angelou, a brilliant writer, she would rent out a hotel room for months at a time, and every morning at 6:30 she would go to the hotel room and she would write in there. She told the staff to remove all decorations, all artwork. She didn't allow them to change the bed sheets because she'd never slept there. All she had, I believe she just allowed in the room a poetry book, a notepad, a pen, a Bible, a couple other things, but the room was as bare as possible. No one was allowed to come in or knock or contact her, and she would write for 4 hours every morning in that hotel room. Why? Because she said her home, she liked pretty things. She liked art and decorations, nice wallpapers, cushions, whatnot. When she was at home, she was distracted by all these pretty colors that she couldn't write well. She removed all distractions. It is imperative. The last thing you want is to finally enter a flow state where you're really working amazingly in the zone on your craft, and then you get distracted by something. It can be anything as well. You have to really take this seriously. That includes your phone, notifications, social media. That includes feelings like hunger or like thirst. That includes your thoughts, maybe worries. It's very hard to enter a flow state if you're worried about your next tax bill, for example, or if you just had an argument with your partner and it's still on your mind and you're still a bit annoyed but kind of feeling a bit guilty too. It's very hard to enter a flow state in those situations. You have to do your best to remove all distractions internally and externally. If you're curious what I do, I write 4 hours a day. I do it early in the morning, or if I do it a bit later, I do it when I know that no one is going to contact me or distract me. I eat first because hunger distracts me from my writing, so I eat before I write. I have a bottle of water and I have a cup of tea always next to me because me being thirsty distracts me. I take my earphones over here, I put them in and I play white noise. It works wonders for me. Maybe try it if you struggle to focus. I live in an apartment building. Sometimes I have people shouting from upstairs or going down the steps in the corridor, or I have people working and banging and drilling stuff outside. The white noise blocks out all noise externally, but it also directs my mind and focuses it on the one thing that I am doing. So that's how I combat maybe the other worries in my life. I just focus on my writing. If you get into flow and then you get distracted and you get pulled out of it, it can be hours before you get back in, or you might not even get back in that day. One of the biggest killers of productivity is task switching, is taking your focus from the thing you're trying to do to anything else. You have to remove all distractions. Now we'll move to step 5, which is to push through resistance. In all likelihood, after you've done all of these steps and you start working on your craft, it's not gonna feel good. You're gonna have some kind of resistance, more than likely. Maybe on the odd day when you're feeling very motivated, you might just get straight into it. But motivation is an emotion. It comes and goes. It's not reliable. You have to be committed. And that means a lot of days you're not gonna feel like doing it. It might be that you want to check social media, start doom scrolling. You start procrastinating. Oh, I have to take the clothes out the washing machine. Oh, I have to wash the dishes. Oh, I have to do this, do that. For some people, it comes in the form of negative self-talk. They might think, why am I doing this? I'm not good enough. It's not gonna be good anyway. What's the point? I'm a failure. You might like get up, walk around and say, no, I need to focus, and you sit back down, and then you pick up your phone and then say, no, I shouldn't do this. Your brain is going to throw everything at you and it's going to be a battle. You have to push through this, and you'll find that it normally doesn't actually last that long most of the time. You know, 5, 10, 15 minutes, you just keep pushing through, and eventually you'll find that time stops mattering. Your self-consciousness about the work disappears, your fear of failure disappears, and you're just in it. And then we move to step 6, which is just to keep going. Doing this, you won't hit a flow state every single time. That's just normal. I don't hit a flow state every day. Most days I do now because I've dialed it down to a science, but many days I don't. And I have found in my experience that it's usually one of two things. Usually there's something on my mind that's distracting me, something in my personal life or something in business, something distracting me that I just can't quite get out of my mind, or it's that the task is just too difficult, which happens to me a lot. I'm often pushing my skills, and that's fine. You're not meant to get into flow state with everything. Sometimes you just have to learn. When I was struggling with my video editing, and I'm still learning and still trying to get better, I didn't think, oh, I'm not hitting flow state, this is bad. I knew that this was a skill that I was lacking, that I was gonna have to develop. When you're developing something, you're not gonna get into flow because you have to consciously think about everything you're doing. You're learning, you're trying to memorize things, you're trying to figure problems out. That's fine, that's all part of the process. I'm not telling you what you need to achieve every single time you sit down to work. I'm telling you what the steps are to get into a flow state. And if something doesn't quite match, fine, still do the other steps. Any one of these steps will help you to become more productive and more creative. And over time, by doing this, you will start entering a flow state more often, which means you will enjoy your craft more and you will progress much more than you probably ever thought possible. AAWatson out.